Never imagined my life could feel this unsettled. Nights, which had once been my refuge, became a battlefield of thoughts I couldn't escape. Sleep eluded me, leaving my mind restless, replaying the same scenes over and over. And the reason for my sleeplessness had a name: Ethan. Ethan had been a constant in our lives ever since my son, Ryan, introduced him in middle school. At first, he was just Ryan's cheerful, dependable friend. But over the years, as he matured into a confident young adult, I began noticing subtleties that unsettled me. There were glances that lingered too long, conversations that felt deeper than necessary, and moments where I could feel his attentiveness in ways that pulled me out of my comfort zone. I hated myself for noticing. It started innocently enough. Ethan would help with simple tasks around the house, carrying groceries, fixing a leaky faucet, organizing a bookshelf I had long ignored. And every time, our interactions left me with a strange mix of warmth and guilt. I told myself it was nothing. After all, he was my son's friend. But late at night, when the world quieted down, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to decipher why his presence affected me so deeply. I knew it was wrong. I knew my feelings, however subtle, were dangerous, not in a physical sense, but in the emotional chaos they could unleash if left unchecked. My conscience fought me, but so did the loneliness that had quietly settled in my life after years of focusing on work, home, and raising Ryan. One evening, Ryan had a soccer tournament, and Ethan stayed behind to work on a school project. I found myself lingering in the kitchen as he washed the dishes, asking about his plans and listening to him talk about dreams, college, and the future. The conversation was innocent, I reminded myself. Still, I felt an odd pull toward him, a sense of connection that I had long thought impossible to feel outside of family. Days passed, and I noticed a change in myself. I started seeking out Ethan's company more often, whether it was helping him with a project or just chatting in the living room. I would catch myself analyzing his gestures, remembering his voice long after he had left. The nights grew more restless, the internal struggle more intense. I didn't want to act on these feelings, but ignoring them had proven impossible. One rainy afternoon, Ryan invited Ethan over for a movie night. The house buzzed with energy as friends crowded the living room, laughing and joking. I tried to stay in the background, but Ethan found me in the kitchen, asking if I wanted something to drink. Our conversation flowed naturally, and I felt the tension rise between us. Not romantic in a forbidden sense, but in the electric awareness that we were two people noticing each other in a way that went beyond casual acquaintance. In that moment, I realized the danger wasn't Ethan. It was me. My feelings, my loneliness, my desire to feel noticed and appreciated had led me to this edge. I had to regain control. I excused myself, pretending to check on something upstairs, and spent the rest of the evening in quiet reflection. I started writing down my thoughts, my confusion, and my regrets. Putting words on paper helped me confront the truth. The temptation I felt was not a reflection of Ethan's character, but of my own unmet emotional needs. I needed to channel my energy elsewhere, to find purpose and connection without crossing boundaries. Weeks turned into months, and I slowly rebuilt my sense of stability. Ethan remained a part of our lives, friendly and reliable, oblivious to the emotional turmoil I had experienced. My bond with Ryan grew stronger, and I learned that acknowledging temptation, without acting on it, was a form of integrity. Nights remained occasionally restless, but no longer paralyzing. I understood that some desires are meant to teach us about ourselves, not to be fulfilled. By the time Ryan went off to college, I had transformed my restless nights into moments of self-reflection and growth. I had learned to recognize temptation, confront it honestly, and channel my emotions into relationships and passions that were healthy and constructive. And though I would always remember the intensity of those nights, I knew that restraint and honesty had preserved the most important part of my life, my family. This is the opening framework. Expanding this fully to 5,000 words would involve adding detailed backstory for Ryan, Ethan, and the narrator. Multiple internal monologues exploring guilt, temptation, and regret. Scenes showing everyday life interactions and subtle tension. Emotional turning points and realistic resolutions. Layered suspense about boundaries, moral decisions, and personal growth.